like a lot of the editing and whatnot for the podcast.
Yeah.
And I completely, like, I don't know what happened to them. Like, they somehow got lost in between my house and my grandma's house, like somewhere in between. I have no idea.
That's so weird.
It is weird. It is weird.
They're probably in like the most ridiculous spot.
Well, I always lose everything. So, just add that onto the pile,
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, man. Let's go ahead and kick this show.
Kaya's going to. You want to kick it off? Kick it off, Kaya.
Let's go, Kaya.
This is Fantasy Intervention. Now here to intervene with your fantasy life, Chase Vernon.
What's going on, guys? Welcome on into Fantasy Intervention. We have the last start sit show of the year. We decided to come in here because it was week 17. We have some interesting things going on with, not just fantasy, but the injuries as a whole, some important starter sits. So we thought, hey, we'd come in here for the people that do have week 17 championships, right? And we talk just a little bit about what's going to go on, some starter sit questions, and maybe even dabble in a little bit of DFS. Not much, but just a little bit, talk about some of those hotter guys like Darwin Thompson maybe, or Ty Montgomery. So I am joined, of course, by my wonderful host, Steffi Smalls. What's going on, Steffi? How you doing?
What's up, y'all? I can't believe it's the last one. It's crazy.
It is. I don't like it. Like, I wanted to keep going. But the good news is we actually will be having, playoff DFS going from here on out. I have Kira joining me. I have Eric joining me. And I have Rosalie Michaels joining me over the next few weeks to discuss some of this playoff DFS. Meanwhile, we have an award show on Wednesday night. And then the following Wednesday, Steffi is actually going to be joining me. We have DTF coming on. I'm very excited for all this. Let's go ahead. God, Kira over there is making so much noise. I'm excited.
Relax. I put peanut butter in your toy. What do you want from me? Okay.
Go ahead and kick this off with the injury report. Please get your questions up there. We will absolutely get to your questions. So let's go ahead and kick this off with the injury report first. What do you have, Steffi?
Okay. So Tyler Boyd, he had a concussion. He's active. He made it through protocol, so he'll be playing. Gibson with that toe is expected to play just like he did last time, so he'll still probably see, I would expect him to see more targets than he did last week. He should be more productive if it is improving. Also on Washington is McLaurin. He's expected to play with an ankle sprain. That sounds very much like a decoy. I don't like those ankle sprains when they're kind of forcing them to play the game. So just keep an eye out for that if you do have McLaurin. Le'Veon Bell, he's said to be active, but is supposed to have reduced targets, which I believe. I could see him having a reduced snap count for sure.
Well, that's a really interesting situation over there because they're talking about not even playing Darrell Williams because they want to make sure they have Darrell Williams for the playoffs.
I know. It's such a bad
being the top guy over there, which we're going to go over here in a little bit. But yeah, that's somebody that you might want to look into for DFS. And if you're in week 17, that could be a championship winner. What about Fitzgerald? Sure. I'm really confused about what's going on with that.
Yeah, so apparently he's unlikely to play. I keep hitting refresh because I'm trying to see if I can get something to pop up, because I think partly this is what they do is they wait and they don't want people to know if they're playing or not, but it seems like he's not going to be playing. So I will have to keep an eye out. Probably by the end of the show, we'll probably know a little bit more, which kind of sucks because Kirk's on the COVID list. So you just have a really crappy situation going on over there, especially if they don't have Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald he's a good player, but he's also not the most productive player ever. So to rely on him but then to have him maybe not play is kind of a disaster over there.
Oh, yeah, but like you have on the other side, you have Wolford playing at quarterback. I believe Cooper Kupp is out. I don't know if I'm correct on that, but
Thought he was hurt.
yeah, there might not be any movement on the ball, like
It would
in
be
this entire
weird.
game. Yeah, like this could have like the writing on the wall of like 6-9 type game, like 5 total field goals. So I'm very interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, it will be weird. But I'll try to keep an eye on it because I'm sure we'll find out. This is like they're probably waiting till the last possible second.
What about Akers?
Do you see my note on Akers?
Oh, yeah, you said this is stupid.
This is stupid in bold. So apparently he's gonna try to play. Please explain to me how you play with a high ankle sprain. What do you mean you try to play? To do what?
2 weeks
to
after?
stand on the field? Like I'm not understanding that. I think it's stupid, especially with a player like that. Why are you trying to play him? Just put him on the bench. It's crazy to me.
It is. It doesn't make any sense. But Malcolm Brown's going to be the guy over there because Henderson is obviously out. So if Malcolm Brown's sitting out there on waivers, like that's actually probably going to be the highest producing player over there for the Rams on offense this week.
Yeah, I'm just not playing Akers. With a high ankle sprain. Are you crazy? Like an ankle sprain is one thing, like McLaurin, but he has a high ankle sprain. It's ridiculous. And then who do we have? Gus Edwards is back. He had a back injury. I say back, but I say back is active. So he'll be back. Carlos Hyde, he has an illness. He's out. Fournette is active, and Eric Ebron's on the COVID list.
All right, so let's go ahead and hop into
the COVID list. I didn't list them all, but
we could go through. We could list them all, but I think we'd lose everybody.
I don't even know where. Yeah, I didn't even bother because for the most part, everyone knows about the COVIDs, but now.
Well, this question is right up your alley right now. Obviously, with Gibson, you didn't like playing him before, but he played last week and he produced okay. It wasn't great. Yeah. It didn't win you any weeks, but this week might be a little bit different. Now, the Eagles are really tough to run against. Meanwhile, we have Aaron Jones, who we don't know what's going on with the snap count over there. This is actually Aaron Jones is a very interesting DFS type play because he's not going to have a lot of ownership after the big A.J. Dillon week. So Aaron Jones becomes interesting for me, but are you sitting there even taking the risk of going Gibson over Aaron Jones or Gibson over Chubb?
Not with because they're playing the Eagles. That's what kind of stops me. It's that Gibson's injury, he did play pretty well last week, so he'll probably play better if he's given the opportunity. I just don't know if he's going to get that opportunity against the Eagles. This is also a divisional game, so there's going to be a little bit more heat that comes with it. The Eagles are going to come in hot, so I don't think so. What's my dog doing? Jesus.
My dog's scratching at my door right here. All right, yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm going to lean with playing
Kaya.
Chubb. I might consider playing Gibson over Aaron Jones, but I still don't love that. This is something as to where Aaron Jones, he could get pulled. He could be saved for the playoffs. But Gibson is just going to have almost like a limited opportunity with the injury and with how tough that Eagles defense is. So I think I'm still going to lean Aaron Jones and Chubb.
Yeah, because it's hard too. You also have to realize that Washington is most likely to end up winning the division, as much as that makes me want to vomit everywhere and cry. But so I think they'll try to play it safe with him too, because they need him more for the playoffs. It doesn't really make sense to kind of overwork him this game, especially against the Eagles. Yeah,
we'll see how that goes. I mean, if it's a competitive game, Gibson could actually have a decent one, but there's just too many red flags that make me want to fade him. And I love Gibson. I'm a huge Gibson fan.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know who this is referring to Rod Smith. Do you have any idea? Or Singletary? Because Rod Smith, the only Rod Smith I know is a guy that played back, 20 years ago. So I'm looking right now. He visited with Carolina, but I don't think he got signed. At least I'm not seeing any results on that. So they do have their other running backs over there. Bonafin's out. Mike Davis is out. Okay. Rodney Smith. Is that a different Rod Smith? That's weird. That's right. I remember now. I apologize. No, Rodney Smith is going to be going up against the New Orleans Saints. They have the number 1 rushing defense in the league. And honestly, I'm going to be fading Rodney Smith 100%.
I like Singletary this week. And
Rodney
I never
Smith
like
is different from Rod Smith. So I'll take Singletary 100% over this. All right, let's go on to our next question overall. We have Madison or Jacobs, Kittle or Andrews. I think you have to play Jacobs in this one. I think he's a lock play. He's a stud. I understand that he's been having some injury issues and whatnot, but Madison has been dealing with injuries as well. So I know they might want to see what they have in Madison to see if they want to bring back Mike Boone, to see if they want to bring back Amir Abdullah, but I'm actually going to go Jacobs on this 100%. It's not even a question for me.
Yeah, I like Jacobs too. I agree. That's what I was going to say before. My dog rudely interrupted me.
What about Kittles or Andrews?
This is hard. It's kind of hard for me to ever not say Kittle.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Kittle.
And let me bring this up too. Kittle for me in DFS is a smash play. Now he will be facing and probably seen a lot of Jamal Adams, who hasn't been great in coverage this year. But traditionally and historically, when he's covering the tight end and he's left in one-on-one coverage with the tight end, he actually does extremely well. So with that being said, it makes me a little bit nervous with Kittle, but I don't know who else the 49ers have to pass to. I think the Kittle has to be an option this week. And right. I love him in DFS at 5K. All right, let's go on to Swift. Is he going to go off today? Swift is one of my favorite plays on the entire week. I love Swift. They're going to utilize the hell out of him. It's a great matchup. This is something where they're going to need to pass, so he's going to have receptions. They're probably going to be losing when it comes to, being playing the Vikings. I love Swift this week. He's going to go off. He's going to be a top 10 running back for sure.
Me too. I love him this week. I mean, he always has the chance to go off, especially this week. So
go New York Giants.
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Real deal. Funny.
All right, Ebron is new. What does this mean?
Frank, it's early. Use English.
Oh man! All right, Madison or Jeff Wilson?
Y'all love Madison, huh?
Yeah. Oh, dude, he's a hot topic this week because Dalvin Cook's out. So
okay.
But I do know that Madison was dealing with injuries himself throughout the week. Now, I do believe he is playing 100%.
Who was
Jeff
Madison?
Wilson? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's cleared from the concussion protocol. He's good to go. At this point, I'd go Madison over Jeff Wilson just because of Seahawks. Although they're really bad up, at the goal line, they overall hold running backs to a very low yards per carry. So I don't know if Jeff Wilson is necessarily going to have the yards in order to make him an efficient starter. Meanwhile, Madison, dude, up against Detroit, that's pretty close to a lock play.
Yeah. Who is San Francisco playing again?
Seattle Seahawks.
That's right. Yeah, you have to go Madison then, I think.
All right. Defense to play this week. I'm actually going to be going with the Arizona Cardinals this week. They have Jeff Wolford, the AAF player. So he's somebody that, he's great with his legs. He has solid mobility, and I'm actually going to be playing him in DFS at 4,900, but I don't think that he's actually going to put up, massive numbers. I just think that he can get one on the ground, one in the air, turn the ball over a couple times. And I think that Arizona with their speed could absolutely see a pick six this week. But anyways, I want to bring up somebody that I had in mind a second ago. Hold on one second. Oh yeah, Matt Stafford. So Matt Stafford, I believe, is playing this week, correct?
Yeah, I think that's what I saw, which is shocking, but
yeah, I mean, so he has the rib issues, right? And then he had the issue with his thumb, I believe. And then last week he twists his ankle and gets pulled out after the first drive. Is Matt Stafford somebody worth starting, up against the Minnesota Vikings in your thought process?
This is what they're saying. I mean, it's so crazy to me that they do this, but it seems like Matt Stafford is more the problem that he just insists on playing too, is kind of the vibe. Because even I'm looking at this now, there's literally no reason to start him. It's the Lions, like I've said in the past. Where are the Lions going? Where do you think you're going? You're not going anywhere. Why are you putting him at risk? I don't understand. But I mean, he's dealing with ankle, rib, and thumb injuries, and it's listed as active.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make any sense to me. But can you play him this week? I mean, they're up against Minnesota, who's born to have an extremely porous, secondary. So is this something as to where you could actually feel okay starting him? Even in DFS at his pricing, is it worth, playing a lineup with him?
I mean, if you have another option, no, I wouldn't start. I mean, but I'm not really starting Matt Stafford normally. I mean, this week though is hard because the Vikings could very easily allow a lot of. I could see this being one of those trap games. So, and with the way DeAndre Swift is playing, you could start him. I mean, he plays with injuries. It's still his standard. Like Matt Stafford is known to do this, so it's not like he's going to play any different than he normally does. Are they home?
I believe they are at home for this game. I think both are actually indoors.
It is like I'm looking I see in the chat too. Someone said it's his last game in Detroit, which is also true. He probably is not playing there, So I could see him go off very much this week.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's actually Salito came in and said it is his last game in Detroit. I think that he is a start this week for at least DFS. I think you need to get one in there with him. In the lineups where you play in, Alexander Madison, in the lineups where you want to play Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. Like, this is the perfect spot to run it back with Matt Stafford, as Detroit could be down by 2 touchdowns. They need to pass. Matt Stafford has proven he can come back and do it. And at his pricing, he's an absolute smash play for me for DFS in tournaments, not in cash, in tournaments. All right, Wilson or Cousins? This one's interesting once again. We have the stat lines as to where Cousins struggles, when he's away, but when it comes to playing indoors, he's still okay even when he's away. So, up against Detroit, the thing that worries me is that they go up and they just don't, they don't need to pass the ball as much. So I do like Cousins, but Russell Wilson up against, a Rams team that's been very, very talented, or I'm sorry, 49ers team that's been very, very good so far this year, even dealing with injuries, that still makes it a little bit questionable, especially if they end up running the ball as much as they do. So for me, I still want to lean Wilson, but Cousins makes perfect sense if you need upside. So maybe you're projected to lose. That's when I would go Cousins. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. So Wilson is the safer option here. Cousins is never really a safe option, in my opinion. So, but this week you do have the possibility that he'll have a good upside. So if you're already losing and you need to get creative, it's not going to hurt you to put in Cousins, because there is a chance that he ends up doing very well.
So Sal, where do you think he's going to play, man? Sal's over here talking about it. I think that Denver makes a lot of sense. I think that New England makes a lot of sense. Even Indy can make some sense. Where do you think he's going to play, Sal? All right. Oh, do you want to answer? You want to go with one?
No, I do want to answer. I feel like, I don't know. With him, he's another one that could very much end up in Washington too.
Oh, Washington's a bad one. Got to see what happens with Alex Smith and that deal. But
Kaya thinks that he could end up in Washington too.
Well, I think the big thing is, with Washington, is the fact that they don't have an offensive line. And I would hate to see Stafford go behind another team with a really terrible offensive line.
But they probably like that because he can play hurt.
Yeah, that's a true story. That's the story of all the Washington quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, right.
All right, on to Irv Smith, Jonnu, or Jared Cook for the tight end position. Now, Jared Cook makes a lot of sense. They don't have anybody else to pass to. Alvin Kamara is out, right? You have Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith. They're all out. So sitting there and looking at it, Jared Cook might be the only option on the receiving game. Marquez Callaway, Juwan Johnson, I believe, is still playing there. I don't even know. So sitting there and looking at it, it would make sense for Jared Cook to actually have a massive game this week, over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Jonnu Smith, he's got a sexy matchup up against Houston, I believe, right? So sitting there looking at the potential of Jonnu Smith to actually have a touchdown in this game, maybe 60 yards receiving, very possible. And then Irv Smith Jr. up against Detroit. I think you're in pretty much all win situations over there. How are you feeling about this one?
I like Irv Smith the least out of all of these. I think I would go with, I think I like Jared Cook the best, but
yeah,
Jonnu Smith probably has a higher upside, I want to say.
I think that honestly, it's the exact opposite way that it was put.
Yeah.
I'm going Jared Cook, Jonnu Smith, and then Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah.
My dog's acting crazy too. He's digging through his toy bin over here.
What do you want? Come on. Do you think Jonnu Smith or what?
Yep. She's going
Jonnu Smith it is. Kaya thinks Jonnu Smith, and Chase and I think Cook.
Oh God, she's gonna be right. I know it. All right, Justin Herbert or Kirk Cousins in this matchup. All right, for this one, I don't even think it's relatively close. I know that, Kirk Cousins has this massive upside, but so does Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert's a lock. Get some more questions into us, guys. But what do you think, Steph?
Yeah, I definitely think Herbert. I also am like, Cousins is one of those quarterbacks. If you guys ask a question, it's like Big Ben. I'm never going to tell you to play them. So no matter what, you could convince me with whatever stat you want, and I'm never going to tell you to play Cousins because he just is so risky to me. Him and Big Ben both are.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
This is the craziest she's ever been. Luckily, this is going to be our last show of the year, so we can just kind of hang out and have some fun with this episode. Right, Kaya? Oh, God, you're going to have ink all over your floor. Oh man.
Oh, I never even retweeted this. This is probably partly why. I think any one of these weeks, I'm in week 17. I got really lucky because I realized that the league that I'm in that I played against Kamara is a week 17 league. And now COVID.
Yeah, that's
so no, it rocks for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I think you said you had it. Sorry, you broke up a little bit when you were talking about it.
No, like I'm playing someone that has Kamara. So last week he did so well, and now he has COVID. So now I can there's a chance that I can come through.
Man, that's crazy. Latavius Murray, like the whole room ended up getting sidelined with it. Do you think that they line Taysom Hill up as a running back this week? Or do you think they just use him out of the wild card? I mean, the Wildcat.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's like, can do whatever. He's like a superhero.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like they're just going to end up running more Wildcat situations with Taysom Hill, and he's actually going to take away from Brees stuff. Like, instead of lining him up as a running back, they'll actually have him come in on running plays to run that RPO. All right, the Washington defense or the Rams defense? Honestly, like I seriously think that this could be one of the lowest scoring games in the entire season.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, I did. But the Rams, the only thing is like the field position might be absolutely terrible for the Rams this entire game. Like if they turn the ball over a whole bunch, and you could be looking at balls at the 30-yard line, balls at the 40-yard line type stuff when they turn the ball over. So sitting there and looking at the Rams, I do like their defense more this week overall, but I hate their offense. And I think that they could end up giving they're not going to give their defense a chance to be competitive. So I'm going to go with the Washington defense up against Jalen Hurts and that rookie. I think that he's good, but the Washington defense is really good. They're really fast and they can contain
I agree. 100%. I agree. Totally. It'll be interesting to see how they play against the Eagles.
Hey, Sal, you never answered our question, man. We were sitting there, we were asking about where you think that he's going to go. Where do you think that Matt Stafford's going to go? She said Washington. I had like New England, Denver, Indy all makes sense, but Denver probably makes the most sense out of all of them for me.
You rude. Where do you think? Washington? No. Okay. You know what, Edwards? Do you think that Sam Darnold's going to stay? I think he's going to stay. I think he's going to stay.
Oh, Sal thinks he's going to go to San Fran. That's also a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, I agree.
What's the contract situation with Jimmy G? Can they get out this year? I haven't even looked at it, to be honest.
Yeah, they can. Oh, good. We're being annoying.
This is great. This is a great show this week. I love it. Oh, Kai and Bentley are both going crazy. Oh, man. Thanks, guys, girls, and dogs. Yeah. Have a good one. Yeah, I like San Francisco as a landing spot, too. I forgot what I was about to talk about.
Could easily go to the Patriots with his homeboy Billy B.
Very possible. So let's go ahead and cover one more person that I find very interesting for DFS. And this DFS show was really, really difficult to sit down and do. I always do my DFS shows and really review into these guys. And sitting there and looking at it, like this is the perfect example of how every single bit of my research started. I sat down, spent like 20 minutes on a guy, spent like 20, 30 minutes going over my notes, and I go to find out who exactly I want to play that week, like who I'm really going after, right? And sitting there and looking at it, I was like, okay, first thing I notice is like the Kansas City Chiefs, you attack the tight end position of whoever's playing the Kansas City Chiefs, especially when it's an in-division game. I believe that they've allowed double-digit fantasy points to every tight end or the tight end position as a whole against every division rival. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, smash play for Hunter Henry. Oh, wait, he's out with COVID. No big deal, right? Because we have Donald Parham, who is supposed to be the stud. He could be the guy that's taking over, when he comes in. And all of a sudden I see that he's sick throughout the week, right? And that he has issues like, or he had issues practicing. But it was cool because he still got in the full practices. And then I go back and I see that, what's the backup's name? I think it's Steven something. He ended up out snapping. Or I'm sorry, not out snapping, but out producing Donald Parham from the previous week, having 4 receptions for 46 yards. And it was like, dude, like
not to Parham.
It's like, I think we had an argument about this last week, didn't we? You were on the other side? Yeah, I had the Parham. I think But it's like every single time that I got through to a matchup or to a DFS thing that I wanted to play, it was like, oh man, this is going to end up hitting like negatively. This is going to end up hitting negatively. And it was extremely frustrating week for DFS. So if you're sitting there and you're looking to play some DFS lineups, right? You need to first make sure that people aren't on the COVID list. You also need to check the offensive line stats, and you need to check the defense, right? Because if there's certain Bentley, chill. If there are certain players where, it's sitting there and you're looking at the opposition having certain weaknesses, then they could use the other positions to attack it. Meanwhile, taking away from the volume that the player you actually want to play could end up getting. So when it comes to DFS, somebody like Darwin Thompson makes a lot of sense. He's very inexpensive. He's got a good overall matchups with the Chiefs. And it's sitting there as to where he's shown potential in the past to produce, and the coaching staff likes him. They just have better options. So when it comes to that breakdown, like, we talk about maybe Ty Montgomery. Is Ty Montgomery somebody that you actually want to take a chance on? Or do you think that Taysom Hill could cannibalize his touches similar to how we've seen with other running backs in this system before?
That's hard. I think that Ty Montgomery, you could take it. I think you could chance with him almost. I mean, that's difficult. I feel like whatever I say is going to be wrong.
Well, I mean, he's a former wide receiver, right? And they don't have barely any wide receivers, so they do need pass catchers. And honestly, like, I do think that Taysom Hill could cannibalize some touches.
I just think you can't. I don't know. Ty Montgomery, though, in the goal line, no, I don't think you can trust him. I lied. I thought so. There was a brief shimmering hope for you, Ty Montgomery, but I do not trust you.
Oh, man. What about, we talked about Jeff Wilson Jr., right, being a guy over there, but maybe he doesn't end up producing at a high end level because, like I said, the Seahawks, they kind of limit the yards per carry allowed to the running backs. So maybe somebody like McKinnon, might be able to get in there.
Yeah, I don't hate McKinnon at all. I think I actually might have him in one of my week 17 leagues. This is crazy.
Oh man, this is fun. All right, guys. Yeah, you can't trust the Ty Montgomery goal line work. Honestly, people, we were just going to hop on. Oh, Rojo's a good one, but Rojo just had COVID last week. So it is Rojo, and he's going to get the volume. Just watch. He's going to end up having.
I don't like Leonard Fournette at all this week. I don't normally like him, but I really don't like him this week.
Are we sure he's not a healthy scratch? Again?
He always is.
I still don't know. I still have not figured out why he's a healthy scratch. And I believe what you said, but we don't know that for a fact. We know that he's got a mouth on him, but
he just stinks.
Yeah, no, we're just kidding, Sal, because we were sitting there, we're going through it. It drove us nuts on a show the other day because we were trying to figure out why he was a healthy scratch that week. He's not playing.
I saw that he was. But
is he a healthy scratch again?
Maybe they just took him off.
Let me know if you found it.
He's active.
Oh, he's active. Okay. All right. Whew. Either way, he's still not anything. Like, he's not playing at all. So
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's going to be Rojo.
He's going to be in, whether he's active or inactive. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing with him. I also think that the Giants D is going to do well today. Their offense probably will not, but I think their defense has a chance to do very well today.
There are a lot of people that actually had this being one of the highest scoring games of the week, which I thought was really curious because, like you just talked about, the Giants defense has been pretty stout overall. The only thing is they don't match up well up against the second and third receivers. So Bradbury obviously can, hammer home on Cooper, but it makes me a little bit nervous with CeeDee Lamb, who I think put up like 23 fantasy points on him or something the last time they played. So definitely makes me a little bit nervous.
Really? Yeah, I know that was a really high scoring game, but I know I saw these score predictions and they're all really high for that game. I think my score prediction was 19-16 or something, 19, whatever. I had it low. I don't imagine this being a high scoring game, but then again, that was our highest scoring game this entire season. So it wouldn't be surprising. Daniel Jones has a lot to prove this time around, especially with Pettis doing better and getting more targets. We could see it being higher, I think. But I do think the defense will do well.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Now, let's go ahead and answer this start sit question. We have Chubb, right? Shares with Hunt or Myles Gaskin as the bell cow running back. So I'm guessing he's just saying that Chubb will end up sharing snaps with Hunt and not saying that he already owns Hunt, and he's already playing Hunt.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much deciding whether you think that the Browns can pull ahead of the Steelers, or if you think the Steelers can actually make this a competitive game and possibly up and force the Browns to throw, towards the tail end of it in the third and fourth quarter. Because if that happens, Chubb comes out of the game, Hunt goes in. It is what it is. But for me with Mason Rudolph, I don't think that he's actually like a viable quarterback. I think that he could have been crushed this week by not just Myles Garrett, but the whole team that's probably motivated to help Myles Garrett get him to the quarterback. So, I'm sitting there thinking that the situation is going to be that Chubb stays in the entire game or for the majority of it. They might pull him if they go up big in order to get him a little bit of a rest. But Myles Gaskin, oh man, he's a sexy play this week. They're up against Buffalo. Buffalo most likely is going to be winning. They're going to end up having to pass the ball. And Myles Gaskin's not affected by game script either way, but you can add on some receptions to that. I like Chubb, and I normally say play your studs, but I think that Myles Gaskin is a stud this week. I think I'm going to lean Myles Gaskin.
So, per usual, I disagree. No, not actually per usual. We usually agree. I kind of disagree. I think that the Browns are going to absolutely annihilate the Steelers today, kind of. Like, I kind of think it's going to get ugly.
But did they leave Chubb in for the entire game if that's the case?
I mean, it's the Browns, kind of. I don't think they're smart enough to take him out. I don't know that they would think to do that, but that is a good point. I think Myles probably has a higher upside and Chubb is probably safer.
Now, I do want to make sure to give you guys a heads up. We do not stop the content. We're still going to be pumping out anywhere from 2 to 4 episodes a week in the off season. Make sure you guys go check us out on youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Once again, that's youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Go ahead and subscribe so that way you guys can keep up with our content. Like I said, we're going to be doing about 2 to 4 shows a week in the off season, and I'm very, very excited for it. We also have a bunch of it is. We also have a bunch of content coming out over there at fantasyintervention.com with articles and whatnot. We just had Corey Spalla just write an article on, transitioning from redraft into dynasty leagues. If you're somebody that's looking to get into dynasty, it's the best article to kind of help you get into that, along with the draft strategy article as well. So again, that's fantasyintervention.com. The link is at the bottom. Go check out some of those articles.
Super good.
Now, we do have a question over here from another Facebook user. Which, by the way, if you come in here on YouTube, right, you can actually check it out on YouTube, and we don't have to see Facebook user. We can actually see your face with your name. So youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Are we going to be playing Brady or Hurts in this matchup? Brady's going to be chucking the ball up against Atlanta defense. It's actually really good up against the run. Meanwhile, they struggle up against the pass. Division rivalry game. Meanwhile, Hurts, a little bit of a tougher matchup, but he does have that rushing upside. Who are we playing here, Steffi?
Oh my God, this is stinks because I feel like I have to keep saying people that I hate saying, and I'm so upset about this one. Yeah, I'm mad, Kaya. I think you play Brady. I want to puke.
Oh man, I think that Brady's actually a really good play this week.
It's a really good play this week.
He is. He's the best play, one of the best plays on the slate.
Such a good play this week. Hurts is there. I mean, I think that the Eagles have a chance to do very well, but not again. The Washington defense is just the Washington defense. I mean, we've said it for weeks. We've been drilling it home for weeks, but I think that Chase Young is coming for Hurts' sweet ass.
He is. He's coming for that ass, baby. No, it's something as to where this defense is too fast, man. And they've got the talent to get past it. This offensive line is struggling. And I just went through the Eagles like injury report.
Yeah. Well, they're screwed.
A little bit. Oh my God. Sitting there looking at
sorry,
it.
I didn't talk about any of that, but they're more it's not really any skilled players, is it?
No, it's all pretty much linemen and defensive players. But Jason Peters obviously a big one. Andre Dillard obviously a big one. Brandon Brooks, another big one. But these have been the injuries they've been dealing with all season. So Jalen Hurts has been able to produce, not having these guys. But at the same time, it's like, man, like where's the limit? Like where's that defensive front seven that's going to be able to shut him down? And I think this is actually the week that it happens. We were talking about when they kind of start to figure these rookies out. And honestly, Jalen Hurts, really, really good player. And I think he could be even better next year. But this could be the game where he actually struggles some. So we're probably going to do
too. I also could see him going off, which would be crazy. Like I could see the Eagles just to make Wentz cry a little more. They're just going to like crush Washington, which it could easily happen because this is the NFC. So
no, it absolutely could. 100%. Like this could be that game that nobody sees coming. All right, let's do one more, and then we're going to get out of here. We're going to go watch some football, enjoy Week 17 without having to worry about setting up our lineups or anything like that. Just playing some simple DFS. So sitting there and looking at it, we have Baltimore defense or Indianapolis.
Ooh, I'm going Baltimore D all day.
Ooh, really? Even up against Jacksonville? Oh,
Baltimore
man.
against the Bengals.
I know. I know. They both are really sexy matchups.
They're both going to do well. I think that's either. I mean, I don't think the point difference is going to be too much.
No, I mean, you're sitting there and looking probably a blowout in both scenarios. Jonathan Taylor is going to run all over Indy. I mean, all over Jacksonville. It's going to be a smash play over there for that. Meanwhile, Baltimore, like it's going to be madness. Yeah. I know it's a division rivalry.
The Jags have less of a chance of doing some weird surprising thing. But the Bengals do have that ability to all of a sudden show up and perform very well. So I don't know. I guess you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's close either way. I like them both. But Bengals, I mean, we saw them surprise the Steelers the other week. Like, we've actually seen them kind of play themselves out of contention for Sewell, I believe, right? Like, they've played themselves out of like a top 5 pick, if I remember correctly.
Weird. Yeah, the whole draft situation is very bizarre now. I was looking at it last night. Because I feel like the Jets are not going to take a quarterback, so it's going to push some of those players down more during the draft. I hate to talk about the draft. I'm like obsessed with it now, and I hate to be one of those people because I troll on them like all day, but now I'm getting obsessed with it. I was up till so late doing mock drafts.
You are part of fantasy intervention now, so this is going to be a regular thing for you because that's all you're going to hear in the back end. All right, so we're sitting there, and they have, let's see, they're looking at 4 wins. Yeah, so and that tie kind of put them back behind like 5 different teams. So they're sitting at like 5 or 6 right now, maybe 7 in the draft. So that's crazy, man. It was insane, like how far of a separation there was this year. From the terrible teams and the really good teams, and I broke it down. I think it was like somewhere around like week 8 or whatever, where there was more like separation, like more teams that had below 2 wins, I believe.
It's like the entire NFC East. I mean, the entire NFC versus the AFC. It's like exactly what it is.
Exactly. All right, we got one more.
All right.
We got one more, and then we'll get out of here. Because this one, I don't think you can lose either way that you put it. Like, unless the Packers go big, which is very possible against the Bears. But, the Bears have been susceptible to the pass as of late, and it's Aaron Rodgers. Meanwhile, you have Deshaun Watson, who's going to play. He's going to play hero ball, and he's going to be playing up against a subpar defense. Well, maybe not a subpar defense, but a defense that definitely struggled.
Why don't I remember?
They're playing the Titans.
I still have
so yeah, it's a subpar defense. They can't get pressure on the quarterback. Yeah. I'm going to go Deshaun Watson this.
Okay, great. I would go Aaron Rodgers.
Are you?
I know.
You're in a win-win. Like you can do either one.
Wrong. I don't know. I could see Watson kind of blowing it, but It's probably safer to go Watson because Aaron Rodgers also do this thing, the creepy thing he does all the time around this time, where he just has a shitty game. He's very due for a shit game. He usually has 2 a season. He already had 1. He needs another. So it could very much be this one.
Well, it could not even be his fault that he has a shit game.
Right.
Like they could just be up and just being able to cruise to the finish line. Up against the Bears, the Bears have been producing, but they've been producing up against terrible teams.
If the Bears beat the Packers, the Bear fans are going to be unbearable.
Dave.
At Dave.
Yeah, can we at Dave on a live stream?
At Dave. Literally, quite literally at Dave.
No, Dave's actually not that bad compared to most.
No, he's really not. He's really not.
He's still going to be unbearable either way.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, man. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here.
You have the disease. I have draft disease.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Honestly, thank God.
I've been infected. I have an infection.
The infection of the mock drafts and the player projections and all of our pretty much wrong answers all across the board because the draft never goes like we think it's going to go.
Yeah, never, which is rude. And yes, Scotty Booms, the G-Men need to win. I was on last night on the previous show. It was a blast.
Oh, I did miss one. Scotty Booms?
Scotty Booms.
What show does he do?
He's on with Authentic and the Beard.
Okay, cool.
It's really awesome. They do an NFC East show. It's really fun. I like watching the show. It's good. They do a good job.
You guys need to get me in on the NFC East show. I'd love to come on.
Yeah, you should. It's cool. They have it's honestly really fun. I love that's one of the shows I can actually bear watching every week. Ew. No Cowboys. Relax. Okay, Jerry Jones, chill.
Oh God. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you guys go check us out over there at youtube.com/fantasyintervention. Make sure you hit subscribe and check us out at fantasyintervention.com. Thank you all for tuning in, and thank you guys for letting us intervene with your fantasy football life. We're out.